Hello everyone, I'm Becky Goldsmith with Piece of Cake, and I want to show you today how to use the Sewline Glue Pen with your English paper pieces. The more traditional way of preparing your papers is to cut the fabric with the seam allowance, fold the seam allowance over the edge of the paper, and thread baste it in place. And that works, but it is slower than using the glue pen. In fact, it's kind of a lot slower. One other drawback to thread basting is that you can reuse these papers, and when you thread baste, the needle perforates the paper. Now, it takes a while for it to wear the paper out, but the more little holes are in the edge of the paper, the weaker that edge becomes, and you don't get that at all with glue basting. So, this is how you do it. I cut the fabric a little more than 1/4 of an inch bigger all the way around, because when you fold the fabric over the paper you lose just a little bit, so you want to be careful not to have too small a seam allowance. Then I take the glue pen and I run it along the paper. Don't run it on the fabric, run it on the paper. Now, normally I would hold the pen upright like this, but then you can't see what I'm doing. So I'm going to, zoom in just a little bit and hold the pen this way. And what that does is run a line of glue on the paper, and then I can take the fabric and fold it right over that edge, and it's held in place. Now, on the next one, I'm going to run the glue on top of this little bit of fabric and then onto the paper. You'll notice that the glue in this pen is sort of a pink purple. The pens come in 3 different colors: pink, blue, and yellow. And honestly, I haven't noticed that it makes any difference which color you use. The color is there so that you can tell where you've put the glue. The glue dries clear. So you run it along, just like that. Now, those of you who are familiar with Piece of Cake and the books that Linda and I have written over the years, you know that we are not big users of glue. It's not something either of us like to put in the fabric. In this case, though, there's very little glue going into the fabric itself. For the most part, it's going on the paper and it stays in the paper. And this is fast, so much faster, and it seems okay to me to use. And for that reason, I have been doing this very thing on my English papers. Just like that. There you go. Now, this is a good size piece. I want to show you that it also works on small shapes. This is a 1/2 inch hex. Now, it's a little trickier because it's smaller, a little trickier to do holding it flat. I like to work flat against my sandboard because the sandpaper keeps everything firmly in place. But when I'm working with these bitty little hexes, I usually have to pick it up in my hand to do. You know, I haven't really tried this, but let's see. On the small ones, you might be able to do it just like that with it held in your hand. I do better with it flat. You'll find your own way of working. Just like that. And there you go. It's fast, it's easy, and it really, really works. Now, let me show you what it looks like when it's finished. This is a piece I've been working on, and I thread basted some of them until I gave up on that and started using the glue. I wanted to show you how easy these are to peel up once you're done. So I've sewn these shapes together, and after I sew more to them, I'll be ready to remove the papers. And the glue lets go. Now, when it's fresh glue, it stays put more. So if you just glue a piece and then try to peel the seam allowance up, it's not going to want to let go as easily as it does once the glue is dry. You'll also notice that there's no color of glue, and I can tell by feel that the glue that's there has stayed more on the paper than in the fabric. I haven't noticed any problem with the glue releasing until I'm ready to actually peel it free. So that is my newest toy, the Sewline Glue Pen, and I hope you enjoy it. Oh, one other thing, the glue pen comes with one refill cartridge, but you can buy more cartridges. There are 2 to a pack, and it's a glue stick. You go through them. So if you have a whole lot of paper pieces to glue and you don't want to run out in the middle, you might want to have an extra cartridge or 2 so that you don't run out in the middle of your project. So, happy stitching!